We are now in a section of the notes that's very similar to something we saw on the first page, but now we have two functions, and those two functions are both piecewise. So it's going to take a little bit of figuring out to know exactly what piece of the piecewise function to use. And as you look in it as well, you're also going to realize there's some absolute value, which, by the way, makes things positive. Okay? If it's positive, keep it positive. If it's negative, make it positive. 0 is 0. Okay. F of 2, well, I have two functions here. I have f and I have g. And so when I'm dealing with f, then, well, I'll go to f. That's the easy part. And instead of using the word for, F-O-R, like we had up here, we represented it with a comma and a little gap, and then we just talked about which piece of the domain it goes with. Okay, so the word for, F-O-R, is not present, but the same idea is there. So f of 2, so we're going to go here and we're going to look. Do I use this or do I use this? Well, I'll use this for x values less than or equal to 1. No, I want to know what happens at 2. Well, 2 is not less than or equal to 1, but 2 is greater than 1, so I'll use this one right here. So because 2 is greater than 1, I go here. So I'm going to go 1 minus x squared. Well, x is 2. So 1 minus 2 squared, which is 4. That gives me negative 3. Okay, and it's really straightforward. So this section will go fast. I actually do recommend that in the very near future, like within the next 30 seconds or so, you pause it or mute it and just try these on your own. Okay, so 0. F of 0, so here's f, and then 0 is less than or equal to 1. So we will use this piece of the function, and we're going to go absolute value of 0 and then minus 5. Well, the absolute value of 0 is 0. And then 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Absolute value means how far is it, basically. It's a measure of distance. And, well, 0 is 0. So you haven't traveled at all. No distance at all. So f of 3. 3, f function. Do I use this? Do I use this? Well, 3 is less than or equal to 1. Well, that's not true. 3 is greater than 1. That's true. Here we go. 1 minus x squared. X is 3. So 1 minus 9. That's going to give me negative 8. All right, again, I recommend that you mute it. Try these on your own because I'm going to start going kind of fast. F of 4. Here's f. 4 is not less than or equal to 1. 4 is greater than 1. So 1 minus 4 squared. 1 minus 16. That is negative 15. G of 1. Okay, now we've got to a g function. So obviously we're over here. Do I use this, this, or this? All right, G's the tricky one, actually. So 1 is not less than negative 2, so we don't use 5. 1 is, and this is confusing, but 1 is between. That's kind of what this means when you have this inequality here. 1 is between negative 2 and 3, so we will use this one. So 4 minus x squared and then absolute value of that. So 4 minus 1 squared. 1 squared is 1, so we have 4 minus 1, which is the absolute value of 3. Well, absolute value makes things positive, so it's just 3. It was already positive, so it stays positive. G of 4. 4 is not less than negative 2. 4 is not between these two numbers. 4 is greater than or equal to 3. So 4 is greater than 3, so we use this piece of the piecewise function. 3 minus 4, negative 1. Okay, g of negative 3. Negative 3 is less than negative 2. So we come over here and we say, well, I'll just use 5. And then we're done. Okay, and this confuses a lot of people because they'll say 5 and then times it. No, not 5 times anything. You're not multiplying, it's 5. It's not 5 times x, it's not 5 times negative 3, it's not 5 to any power, it's 5. It's just 5. That's it, just 5. Don't make it harder than it is. All right, f of negative 3. Not using g, we're using f. Negative 3 is less than or equal to 1. We go here. Absolute value of negative 3 minus 5. Don't let absolute value scare you. Absolute value of negative 3 is positive 3. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Now, don't look at that and say, well, I thought it wasn't supposed to be negative. It's not. Well, it is not. Where I'm pointing is not negative. This 3 is not. But then we did other stuff to it. G of 0. 0 is not less than negative 2. 0 is between negative 2 and 3, so we're going to go here and use this one. Absolute value of 4 minus 0 squared. 4 minus, well, 0 squared is 0, so we have absolute value of 4. And that's, well, 4. All right, g of 5. 5 is greater than 3. So we have 3 minus x. Well, our x is 5. There we go. So it's negative 2, and I have a smudge on my paper. Negative 1. Negative 1 is less than 1, so we plug it in here. Absolute value of negative 1 minus 5. The absolute value of negative 1 is positive 1. 1 minus 5 is going to give me negative 4. We have one more in this section, g of 3. Okay, now it gets tricky. So g of 3, 3 is not less than negative 2. 3 is not between negative 2 and 3. If this said negative 2, I would use it because notice it's equal to negative 2, but it is not equal to 3. And I just accidentally drew on the paper to where it looks like it is, but it's not. But here we have x greater than or equal to 3. So watch your equal signs. Be careful because it's this one. And so we have 3 minus whatever we're about to plug in, which would be 3. So 3 minus 3, which of course gives me 0.